3,000 years ago, the unified nation of Israel began fracturing in two, splitting into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. The two nations immediately diverged. While the south managed a degree of political stability, the north collapsed into a vortex of bloodshed, seeing 5 different kings rise and fall in less than 2 decades. This era of instability exposes a deep-seated human instinct, the obsession with controlling our own security, especially when the world around us feels like it is coming apart. The kings of this period tried to manufacture safety on their own terms. They leaned on religious compromises, on political assassinations, and massive financial payouts to keep their crowns. We are going to look closely at these 3 strategies of control, because when we build our security on half measures, we inevitably leave fatal cracks in the foundation. In the southern kingdom of Judah, kings like Uzziah and Jotham were largely considered righteous rulers. They were good kings who tried to follow the ancient laws, but their reigns shared a specific, recurring flaw. They refused to remove the high places. This stone altar shows what those high places looked like. They were decentralized, unofficial sites, blending genuine devotion with pagan practices. By letting these altars stand, kings practiced half obedience. They outwardly submitted to God, but intentionally left a permissible gap for their own convenience. We still have these high places today. They are the private resentments we refuse to drop, or the areas of our lives where we refuse to let anyone else have final say. In the north, the drive for control took a far more violent form. The political landscape became a chaotic cycle of betrayal and assassination. King Zechariah was murdered after just 6 months on the throne. His assassin, Shallum, seized power by the blade, only to be struck down himself just 30 days later. These deaths were more than just political chaos. They fulfilled a specific prophecy that the dynasty of Jehu would end after 4 generations. Zechariah was the 4th. No amount of human force or political maneuvering could overcome that decree. These kings tried to violently grasp their futures, but their ambition was powerless against divine sovereignty. The next king, Menahem, realized that years of internal violence had left the nation completely vulnerable to the looming superpower of the day, Assyria. To secure his throne, Menahem extracted a massive amount of wealth from his own people and gave it to the Assyrian king as tribute. He was literally trying to buy his safety. It's a strategy we still see today, the belief that enough wealth, the right status, or the right connections can act as a shield against the world's uncertainty. Menahem eventually died and was replaced by his son, murdered after just 2 years. Despite the massive silver payment, the cycle of violence continued, proving how little that tribute actually secured for his family line. Eventually, the money ran out, and the Assyrian war machine returned. As this stone relief shows, the city walls were breached by siege ladders and archers, and the people were dragged into exile. This was the end of the road for the northern kingdom. It was the direct result of decades of spiritual rebellion and a reliance on human power that finally hit its limit. But even in the middle of this total collapse, God did not walk away. He purposefully preserved a remnant of the people, keeping a sliver of hope alive for the future. This preservation shows us a core principle of grace. God doesn't demand perfect maneuvering or a flawlessly managed life. He is looking for an honest, repentant heart willing to hand over total control. The history of these kings is an invitation to stop relying on exhausting compromises. When we finally tear down our personal high places, we find a grace that is a far better anchor than any security we could build for ourselves.